Hello. I'll just wait for some people to show up.
So are you recording?
Yeah, it's on. Thank you. Yeah, I think I must have set it up to do it automatically because it was just.
Let me come over there.
Are you muted? I think you're muted, Rebecca. I couldn't hear you if you're talking to me.
I am. I was just talking to Adam.
Oh, okay.
Think anybody will come to this meeting?
I hope at least one person comes. I'll be so happy when we can just meet in person again. Make my life easier. Since it's just now 7, we'll give them another minute or two to come in, and then we'll just go ahead and start.
That sounds fine.
Maybe this computer needs to be started.
I sent you minutes for the officers meeting.
I saw that. Thank you. I loved them.
Oh, good.
Okay, let's go ahead and just get started. I guess I'll just call the meeting to order. Let's begin by doing the Pledge of Allegiance. Let's see here. Can you guys see the flag? I hope so. Okay, attention, salute, and pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Now, Rebecca, will you please give the financial report?
I will. We have $1,852.68 in the bank, which is the same as it was at last month's meeting.
Thank you very much. Okay. Let's see here. Before we get on to our other business, I want to say that our Sunfest application was due before May 1st if we wanted it to be free, and I went ahead and got that mailed in. I haven't gotten any information back from them about that, but I want to encourage everybody to put on our radar any events that you are attending this summer that are here in Washington County. We want to make sure that we're a part of them if we can be. So if you're going to be going somewhere with your family this summer here in Washington County, a rodeo or like some kind of public event, anything for the 4th of July, any kind of summer days type thing, let us know so that we can try to get ourselves a table there or a booth, and so that we can start being a more active part of our community. Okay, then let's see here. The next thing we need to talk about is whether or not we will be meeting in person or whether we will be meeting on Zoom. I know that that's a big question on everybody's mind. It's kind of the big question about everything with work or school, and we're no exception. So right now, what I've decided our metrics will be, our benchmarks for determining whether or not we will meet in person are the following. First, our meeting space, the public library, has to be accepting reservations for their rooms. Right now, you currently cannot hold a meeting at the library. So until the library decides that it's safe enough for them to host events, we will not be doing in-person meetings. Once that metric is met, and that, just for your information, is the library board president in conjunction with the city council. Oh no, I'm sorry, the city manager. So they'll decide together, the best course of action. And once they decide that, we'll let you know. Once we are able to meet at the library, we will, as long as a few things are met. Number one, masks will be required for the foreseeable future. Okay, that's not something that's probably going to be, something we'll do at least before the fall or maybe the winter. So just kind of get comfortable with that idea. Second, if the meeting spaces allow for only, like, if they allow for more than 25 people, we can meet. The problem with making our events selective is that people are going to get left out. So if it becomes an issue that we can't all meet at one time indoors, we'll try to figure out like an outdoor solution. But if our space isn't big enough for our group, we'll need to adjust. But I want to make sure that we're not cramming too many people into a small space, or that we are excluding people who want to attend our in-person meetings. So we want to keep that in mind as well. And then I'm going to ask that if you do attend our meetings, while I may not ask you to whip out a vaccination card, I am going to tell you to be vaccinated before you step into a room with your fellow Democrats. I'm going to require it, and I'm going to shame the hell out of you if you come into that room and you try to get some people sick. So you will be required to have a vaccination, although I will not check your vaccination card. I think it is the only responsible way for you to be out and about in society. And so I won't call for a meeting and have you be there if you aren't vaccinated. So please get yourself vaccinated. Again, I don't see us being able to meet any earlier than June or July in person because we haven't heard anything from the library. And when I talked to them, they were not optimistic about hearing anything immediately soon, so I would imagine that it would be July or later before we would be able to have that option. We do, however, have the option to meet outside. And I think that we should do that. I'd like to meet in person. I know that I keep keeping us from doing that, but it's something I want to do. So I think that in June, we would like to plan an outdoor event where we have some food, maybe some activities where you can bring your family or your friends, maybe meet at like Johnstone Park or something under a pavilion, and just have a night of some socialization and some like progressive fellowship. So kind of keep an eye out for maybe some kind of poll that we'll take on what night we'd like to do that, but keep that in mind. We'd definitely like to get together outside. But if we do meet again, masks are going to be required, and we're going to ask that you be vaccinated. Okay, so I just want to talk a little bit about kind of the direction that I'd like to take the party for the next, 6 months, year. So kind of talking about our priorities. I talked a little bit about this with the officers we met a few weeks ago, and I kind of laid out my ideas about volunteerism, voter registration, all these things that we'd like to do. And now I'd like to talk to you about it pretty briefly. So we'd like for one of the pillars of our party to be volunteerism. We don't think, or I don't think, that we are involved in our community enough as Democrats. I don't think that people recognize all the hard work that we're doing for people in our communities. And I think that we need to start doing that in a more organized way, in a more vocal way. So I'd like for volunteerism to be a big part of how we interact with the community. To that end, there are a few different ways we can do that. We can work with groups that are already working in our communities, and we can help them do what they're already doing. Or we can kind of come up with new ways that we can help our community or our neighbors. And so it's been suggested to me that we could, ask our neighbors if they need help. Like Rebecca said, that at her church, for example, if you see a neighbor, or there's like a friend or a family member that had little things around the house that they needed fixed up but couldn't do it themselves because they're elderly or they're handicapped or differently abled or whatever it is, then we could maybe go and help them do that stuff and kind of serve our community that way. So anyhow, I called a few organizations to see if we could help. And the problem that I'm running into with that is that right now with COVID-19, they're not really excited about getting a lot of outside volunteers into their kind of core groups that they've been working with. And I totally understand that. I just didn't kind of think about that before I started making the calls. So honestly, right now, kind of gathering some of those ideas around town, like who could we help out? What could we do to make a difference? That would be a really powerful thing. And I think something that we could actually do now. And I'd like to kind of do those things. We could do those things independently, or we can do them together. So kind of get ideas that are both big and small. Don't think anything is too little for us to go and help, somebody fix. And I know some projects may seem out of our scope, and they might be, but you will never know unless you ask. So go ahead and make sure you make that ask. And do come up with ideas for projects, please. Training is another thing that we want to really focus on. I know a lot of you guys are worried when you go to make phone calls because you don't know how. You never have. You're worried when you go knock on doors because you don't know how to talk to a voter. You never have. You're worried when you do these things. And I think that anxiety is something that's blocking a lot of participation. And so we're going to have some trainings that help kind of ease your mind, show you how it's done. We'll get you, ready. And then I think that once we get more participation, we'll see kind of more of a snowball. The more we're out there reaching out to others, the more visible we are, the more people we get to join our group, the more they are reaching out, the more people join because of them. And I think that we'll start to see tangible results that'll make us feel like we're actually getting somewhere. And so the training that I'm talking about, several of us have completed Train the Trainer training. And so we will be offering all kinds of training on like phone banking, voter registration, minivan, fundraising, party building. I mean, you name it. And we're going to show you how to do it. So look for those sessions to be scheduled soon. They may be scheduled in conjunction with, hey, Emily, with the Tulsa County Democrats or with CD1, just to kind of streamline some of our training. There's no sense in 3 or 4 of us offering the same thing. So there's that. Okay, now the next thing, we'd like to include or increase our fundraising. And so the reason we'd like to do that is because we have a lot of Democrats here in the county that we have not corresponded with in a long time. And we'd like to send out a mailer. And you would think that that's a very simple kind of cheap process if done in mass. And while cheaper than actually sending letters individually, it's still not cheap enough for us to afford at the moment. So in order for us to reach all 9,000 of the Democratic voters of Washington County that we may not have reached recently, we would need about $3,000 to do that. Now, I know that sounds like a lot, but I think that if we set ourselves some mini goals and work towards that, you know, an ultimate goal, and maybe send out a batch here and there as we get to those mini goals, that we can maybe achieve that. So just kind of, if you have the ability to give us a donation, that would be great. I would love to get people involved in monthly donations. $3, a recurring $3 donation is $36 a year. It's not that much money for some of you guys who give plenty to many campaigns throughout, you know, election cycles. I don't want to minimize that amount. For some of you, that's a lot of money. I understand that. But for others, you know, that's something that would really make a difference to our party if several of you guys were giving us $3, $5, $10 a month. It may not be that big of a deal to you, but to a party that has no recurring income at the moment, that's a big deal. So if you could give, we would love for you to do that. I think that Emily linked the Act Blue account in the chat, so please do consider giving to your Democratic Party. Okay, we're almost there, I promise. I was talking about our social event in June. I am open to whatever you guys want to do as far as like food. If you guys want to bring food, if you want to discuss maybe ordering from local restaurants or something, I am not opposed to that. You know, I would like it to be something local, and I would like them to be progressive. Okay, I'm not really okay with us giving our money to ultra conservatives or national chains if we can avoid it. So you know, if you want to get something that's local, we're a small enough group that I think we could probably do that, and we haven't met in such a long time. I don't see any reason why we can't celebrate finally getting together once. So if that's something you'd like to do, email me and let me know. For sure, we can definitely think about that. Give me some of your suggestions. I'm happy to consider that. Finally, the last thing that I'd like to discuss is the formation of a discussion/reading group. I think that's one of the best suggestions that we've had lately. Hats off to Angela Utley for giving me that suggestion. So this reading group would just be articles or even a book club if you wanted to, you know, to go that far, if there was a great short book that you guys would like to discuss. But I think that meeting once a month or even twice a month, if that's what the group decided, would be a great idea. I think that there's a lot of interest at our in-person meetings. There was definitely to discuss current topics. And since our monthly meetings are kind of business-like, it kind of made it difficult to have those discussions. So I think that having a discussion night where we read an article that's maybe sent out a week ahead, or we, decide on a book that you guys would like to read and then you discuss it, is a great idea. And I think that we could have it any night that you guys decide. Thursday nights, I think, would be good, just because it's consistent with what we already do. So like, for example, you might have it on the week, like the Thursday before our monthly meetings. And you guys are welcome for the group to use our Washington County Zoom. So what will happen is we can establish the meetings and I can log in, pass off host if I'm not wanting to be a part of the group, and then you guys can have the meeting so that it can be as long as you need it to be, and you don't have to worry about getting cut off or switching off on your personal Zooms. But anyway, I think that having it any night of the week is great, because I think anytime that Democrats get together and discuss great ideas, good things happen. So I hope that you will get involved in that. I'm going to pick our first article soon. I'm going to send it out and pick a date. Hopefully you guys will get involved, and then the group can decide where it would like to go from there, what it would like to maybe read, and when it would like to meet. Okay. We have a meeting on May 27th. Thursday, May 27th is our next regular monthly meeting. It will be on Zoom, 7 o'clock. Delegates and officers, you have a CD1 convention this Saturday. You should have received tons of information in your email, both from me and CD1. So make sure that you reach out to me if you have any questions, or reach out to CD1 if you don't want to ask me the questions. But otherwise, be there Saturday. And if you can't be there, find a proxy so that Washington County is fully represented at our district. I think that that's all I have. Emily, would you like to say a few words really quickly about your event next Sunday?
Absolutely. Hey guys, it's Emily. Sorry, I just got off work, so I'm like super late and still in my car. I'm your vice chair, if you don't know, and I'm new to this, so I appreciate, and I'm in finals week, so I appreciate y'all giving me grace during this time.
Of course.
But yes, I'm organizing with Devin Williams. If you don't know Devin and Randy, they're awesome local people. We love them very, very much. And Devin does a lot of journalism work with the Tri-City Collective down in Tulsa. So they've been focusing on Greenwood quite a bit. And he's recently been recognized by NPR as one of Oklahoma's like top journalists, kind of people. Like, we're really proud of him. So he and Randy and I are putting together a vigil for victims of police brutality and state violence. And that is happening from 1:30 to 3:30 this Sunday, the 2nd of May at Johnstone Park City Center Pavilion. It is a stationary vigil. We're not marching. I've got memorials, I've got signs, we've got some speakers lined up, and we'll have a microphone. And I'm hoping to have some music and some poetry as well, so that we can kind of really mourn the people that we've lost and talk about some good actions that we can take as allies in Bartlesville. We are blessed to have Chief Tracy Rolls, who is, as far as I can tell, I've really liked my interactions with him. I think he's very reform and justice minded. Unfortunately, that's not true for everybody. And especially right now, it's important to stand in solidarity with Tulsa and with Oklahoma City. We can honor the Greenwood 100th anniversary that's coming up, especially as Dr. Tiffany Crutcher and her group has been working really hard to put events together for that. Sorry, this is long. Anyways, we've got this going on this weekend. We'd love to have you, and hopefully we'll do more things like this. Hopefully we'll have more conversations as a community. It's hard because, like we've seen today, we're getting more and more isolated. There's a lot of people that don't want to see change happen. As activists, protesters, as people that care about those around us, we've really been pinned in by the legislature this session. And unfortunately, our own representatives and senators have done quite a bit of that damage themselves. So we'd love to see you on Sunday. This is not a Democratic thing. And I'm just going to throw this out there because of the new statutes that got added to RICO laws. I know they're not in effect yet, but this is not a Washington County Democratic thing, which means Washington County Democrats they can't be at anything. And there's just been a lot of stuff passed with protesters that makes it kind of rough. So
Right.
So that our dear Eric does not get into any kinds of trouble if we have any issues. So we'd love to see you, and hopefully Angela's suggestion for a book club and all of our movements over the next little bit really help us out. Aside from donating to the Washington County Dems, the ACLU of Oklahoma has been doing some incredible work. There's also going to be a recall on HB 1674, which is the bill that would allow protesters to be run over with immunity, or quote rioters, but we know how that usually works against us. So organizations like that could really use some funds as well. Also, Westside Community Center does need some canned food donations, and they always need money. And they're one of the organizations that does a lot for marginalized communities up here. So I'd suggest throwing money their direction if you can, even if it's like $5, $3, like whatever you can.
Well, and if you don't have any money, no, you're very welcome. Thank you, Emily. And if you don't have any money, that's a great way to still give. Like, you might have some, a can of food in the counter or the cupboard that you don't want, that somebody else absolutely needs. So, please do help out. If there's anything that they can help out with, Emily, can they contact you for Sunday?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll put my phone number. I think we have enough folks. Really, the work is going to be done ahead of time on this bill. So really, I would say keep an eye out. I know that there's a bunch of people that are going to be calling Governor Stitt to veto the bill that was passed today, House Bill 1775.
Okay.
So go ahead and call Governor Stitt. I posted on Facebook, but we can put the information through the Washington County Dems page too. That's a collective action you can take that's part of this. So tell them to veto House Bill 1775. And then once we start getting more information about that veto referendum, we can start working on collecting signatures up here and helping out Joshua Harris Till.
Great.
I think that's where our action is best used at this point.
Great. Well, perfect. We'll get started on that. Thank you so much. And before Emily kind of leaves the spotlight, a huge congratulations to you for your victory at the Young Democrats Convention a few weeks ago. She is vice chair of, is it Outreach? Is that what it
It
is?
is vice president of membership.
Membership. That's
So,
yeah.
yes.
Perfect. Well, it is nice to know that Washington County is well represented on a state federation as important and active as the Young Democrats of Oklahoma. So congratulations, Emily. Thank you so much for being a
Yeah.
part of our.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that that's all we've got for this week. Or,
Can I
I'm
say
sorry, for
something real
this-
fast, Eric?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Adam asked when we were talking about fundraising and recurring donations about, our Act Blue and stuff. So I just wanted to remind everyone, we have an Act Blue account online. You can set up an automatic recurring donation through Act Blue if that's something that you want to do. Not everybody knows that
Right.
option is available. So I just wanted to make sure to put that out there. And I also just wanted to say, since Mr. Maddox came and joined us late, I wanted to let him know that we will post the entirety of this meeting on our YouTube and share it on email and Facebook if he wants to rewatch what he's missed later. That's all.
Thank you. Perfect. All right. If that's all of the announcements, then I'm going to adjourn this meeting and this group until next month. Have a great month of May, and I will see you guys on May 27th. The rest of the officers, I'll see you guys Saturday. Okay. Have a good one. Bye-bye, guys.